In today's brief video, I want to take a moment and discuss how you know when it's time to quit smoking weed. My name is Dr. Frank. I'm the founder of AddictionMindset recovery coaching programs dedicated to helping people quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, and adult media content. I'm going to use an example in today's video to lay this idea out. The other day, I was having a conversation with a client, and the client was struggling with THC addiction. And throughout our conversation, I usually ask questions. This individual was really into building his career, and he was really into drag racing. When I asked him why he liked drag racing so much, he said he loved the adrenaline rush. He loved the challenge. He loved practicing to pursue this as a professional to perfect the art of drag racing. When I asked him why he wanted to quit smoking weed, he said, in all honesty, it kind of makes me lazy. I just don't pursue my drag racing career the same. I don't pursue my real estate career the same. And certainly, my weed smoking addiction is costing me money that I could be putting towards a new car for drag racing or a new multi-unit family property that I could be renting out, which would further drive my income. What I pointed out here is that we have an episode of what's called cognitive dissonance. Cognitive dissonance. This is when the actions that you're taking no longer wind up matching your values. So in the case of this individual, they valued their income, they valued their work ethic, and they valued the adrenaline rush and the challenge that drag racing and perfecting that skill poses to them. Inherently, at this point in this individual's life, smoking weed was going against the very grain of the person that they were trying to become or the things that they were trying to pursue. This is an example of cognitive dissonance when our actions, smoking weed, no longer line up with our values in life. And this makes a person both mentally and physically extremely uncomfortable. I often say addiction traps us in a very uncomfortable comfort zone. And the reason for that is because of this cognitive dissonance that's created. So two things can happen when we face this challenge. We can either start to change our actions to match our current set of values or ambitions or goals, which in the case of this person would be pursuing quitting smoking weed. Or more often than not, what happens in the case of addiction is we start to change our thoughts surrounding the things that we want to pursue in life to justify our current actions. So everyone smokes weed, it's not that bad for me. I know a lot of successful drag racers who smoke weed, it's not that bad for me. Well, I know that weed has tons of medical benefits and I am receiving some of those, so I'm going to continue smoking. We start to change our thoughts to justify our current behaviors in hopes of reducing that physical or mental discomfort and disconnect that's occurring in our brain. Or we change our actions to match our current values. Those are the two options when it comes to addiction. And this, I think, is especially true in people, I know it was true for me, who struggle with weed addiction, because I think what we're holding on to in some scenarios is values that were a thing of the past. So when I was smoking weed in college and when I was younger, my values weren't that of a hard work ethic per se. My values weren't, oh, I got to build my career and, oh, I got to take my health seriously because I'm aging and I want to feel good as I get older. Those weren't my values at that time. So smoking weed wasn't really a big deal. It wasn't a major problem for me because it fit my current values, which were I want to hang out with my friends. I want to go out drinking. I'm just here to have a good time. And I'm not really too concerned at this moment about anything else. But as I got older and my values started to change and I continued to take actions from my past, smoking weed, binge drinking on the weekends, watching adult media content, things that just didn't fit into the person that I wanted to become, I started to become drained. I started to become demotivated. I started to become more anxious, and I started to become depressed. And addiction feeds on each of those emotions. Oh, you're depressed? Smoke a little more. You're anxious? Smoke a little more. It will help. And then I would justify smoking by feeding on those feelings. Weed helps me with my anxiety. Weed helps me with my depression. Maybe weed does make me motivated. Look at people like Snoop Dogg and Joe Rogan and other successful individuals who smoke. I can do this too and still have it match my values. Even though the outcomes of my weed smoking weren't matching anything that were occurring in my life. If you want to successfully quit any addiction, smoking weed, vaping, watching adult media content, you have to start to identify these points of cognitive dissonance where the action of smoking weed or vaping or watching adult media content no longer matches the very identity of the person that you're currently trying to become or the person that you are today. Because chances are, if you're watching this video and you're 30 years old, you have a different set of values than you did when you first started smoking at 12 years old, 15 years old, maybe even at 25 years old. And if you don't start taking actions that match your current values, you're going to continue to struggle. Even more importantly, I want you guys to realize you're making a choice to quit smoking weed. This isn't you telling yourself, oh, I can't smoke today, or me telling you, don't smoke weed. That's not what this is. This is about you making a decision to quit smoking, a decision to take actions. This is your choice, and quitting smoking weed is a choice that only you can make. I can't make it for you. Your wife, your husband, they can't make it for you. The choice has to be yours, because if you feel forced into this choice, it's going to be human nature to rebel against that. And that's not what we want. And that's the situation that I so many times see when we're working with clients, helping them quit nicotine, THC, energy drinks, or adult media content. They're forcing themselves to quit. And in reality, what you're doing or should be doing is making the choice to line up your actions with your current values. And that makes this process of quitting a whole lot easier. Follow me into the next one where I talk a little bit about THC withdrawal symptoms. I'll see you there.